Hello Year 10, welcome to another video. Just a quick reminder as the new week has started, I have set your work for Hegarty Maths this week, so you should be doing it as you would normally do it in school. Log on to Hegarty Maths, you should have 4 tasks and you'll be given until Sunday to do it, okay? Can you also make sure that we are watching these videos, please, as it will help you with your learning. And make sure that we are engaging in it as if it was a lesson, please, okay? Make sure you have your pens, pencils, paper, calculators, everything ready so we can just get going. And then at the end of your video, you should then go and do the frog quiz, okay? And then you can go and enjoy the rest of the evening after that, okay? If you keep up with it, then we won't fall behind. Right, so let's look at our learning objectives today. So learning objective number 1, we'll be reviewing the work that we did last week on rectangles and triangles. Lesson objective number 2 would be calculating areas of compound shapes, but these ones will include triangles and rectangles. And learning objective number 3 is looking at some exam questions on it, okay? So, let us start, okay? So can we have a go with this do now task, please? No calculators. Okay, welcome back. Well done for having a go. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the last question, which is the challenge, and then I'll give you the answers for the rest, okay? So, now, remember, when we find the area of a compound shape, what I tend to do is find the missing sides first. So, if you look at this side, okay, the distance from there to there is 13 centimeters, and the distance from here to here is 10 centimeters. So we need to see what we need to add to 10 to get to 13, okay? So subtracting 10 from 13 gives you 3 centimeters, okay? So that's number 1. The second missing length, we look vertically, okay? So going up and down. So the distance from this point to this point is 7 centimeters. Don't know what this is yet. And the distance from there to there is 2. So we need to see what we need to add on to 2 to get to 7, okay? Subtract 2 from 7. You get an answer of 5 centimeters. So this length here is 5, okay? Now, from this point, it's up to me how I want to split it up now, okay? I can either go along or up. But if you go along, if I were to split it like this, the problem is I would have a 13 by 2 rectangle, okay? Which you can multiply together. But if you want something which is not that much in terms of times tables, you can go like this, okay? I would prefer, let's say, to go here. You don't have to. So if I split this up, call this part here shape A, call this part here shape B. Remember from last week, we drew, let's get a different colour pen. We drew 2 different rectangles. So we've got the area of A, which is going to be a 10 by 2 rectangle. So therefore the answer is 10 times 2, the area is 20, plus the area of B. I'll just do a rectangle standing up because that rectangle is standing up. And that's going to be, the length is 3, the width is 7. Okay, so it's a 3 by 7 rectangle. 3 times 7 is 21. So when you add these together, that should give you an area of 41 centimeters squared. Okay? And you would double underline your answers. All right, so let's look at the answers for the rest of these then. So that's the first one. Let's just get this working. Yep, here we go. So the first one, the perimeter is 40 centimeters. Second one, the area is 99 centimeters squared. Remember your units. Third one, area is 25 centimeters squared. Remember, it's base times height, then divide by 2. And the last one we've just already gone through. Okay, 41 centimeters squared. All right, so here's our date and title for today, please. Oops, not this one. So can we just copy down the title? Just to be clear, the date today is the 11th. Okay, the 11th of the 1st, 2020. Okay? Right, so if you look below, we've looked at compound shapes. We know we understand what the definition is. If you went through the last video on area of rectangular compound shapes, we know that it's a shape that comprises of 2 or more shapes. Okay. Now, if you look below, you might be able to identify 2 different shapes. Okay. So what can you see? You've guessed it. You should see a triangle on top. So that would be my A. And the rectangle at the bottom, okay? Now, you've got to be careful with this, because I see people often make mistakes with this. Now, to find the area of A, the area would be your base, which is this bit here, multiplied by the height, and then you divide that by 2, okay? If you were to find the area of B, that's your base and that's your height, okay? So the area is just base times height or length times width, okay? We only need to half it if we're finding the area of a triangle, all right? So just be aware, because these things will come up, okay? So let's look at an example then. So can we copy this down and call it example number 1? Okay, so with this shape, you can just imagine it being the shape of a house with a roof on it. I'm taking away the roof from the rest of the house first, okay? So if I split it up along here, I'm going to call this part part A and this side part B, okay? Now, it is also worth noting that in a rectangle, if I just show this quite clearly, opposite sides here are going to be equal. So this side and this side would be exactly the same. And this side and this side would also be the same. All right? So what we've got here is a rectangle. I'm going to start here because areas of rectangles are so easy to find. Okay? So we know that we got a 9 by 6 rectangle. As area is on the inside, I'm just going to do 9 times 6. So my area is 54 centimeters squared, okay? I'm going to add that to the area of my triangle, okay? I'm going to do the area of the triangle on the outside because that's difficult to see. So the base is 9. Now be careful with the height, okay? Now we know that the height of the whole thing is going to be 10 centimeters, okay? And the height of the rectangle is going to be 6 centimeters. So therefore, to find the height of the triangle, we need to work out what we need to add to 6 to get to 10. So that's going to be 10 take away 6, which is going to give us 4, okay? So that's going to, the height of the triangle, which I'll just show on the outside, is 4 centimeters, okay? So to find the area, you do base times height and divide that by 2. So having a go at this, 9 times 4 would give us 36. Divide that by 2, that would be 18 centimeters squared. So to find the total area, it's the sum of 15 and 54, okay? So the total area would be 54 plus 18. You can do that in your head if you like, or you can just use the column method. It never fails. So 8 plus 4 is 12. 2 there, carry the 1. 5 plus 1 is 6, plus another 1 is 72 centimeters squared. As that is my final answer, I will underline it. Okay? Right. I would like you to copy this down. Pause the video, please. Make sure you copy this down. Okay, brilliant. Now let's go on to the next question. I would now like you, Year 10, to pause the video and have a go. Okay, brilliant. Now this one is quite clear. It's clearer to see because you're given the height of the triangle. Okay. So firstly, it's been split up already. Let's look at let's call this bit A and this bit B. Okay. Now the area of A is a 6 by 8 rectangle. So areas on the inside, when you do 6 times 8, you get 48 centimeters squared. Now let's add that to the area of a triangle. Now we already know from the diagram that the height is 5 centimeters, okay? And the base would be opposite 6 centimeters, okay? Opposite sides are the same in a rectangle. So this side here is 6 centimeters. So the area, I'll do it on the outside, is 6 times 5, and then you half it, okay? 6 times 5 is 30. Half that is 15. So to find the total area, you would have to have done 48 plus 15 to give you an answer of 8 plus 5 is 13. 4 plus 1 is 5, plus another 1 is 6. So you should have got 63 centimeters squared. Okay, double underline that because that's our final answer. Okay, well done if you've got that one right. Okay, brilliant. So now I would like you to pause the video and have a go at this question, okay? So actually, sorry, pause the video and copy down this as an example. I'll go through it. Okay, brilliant. Welcome back. So what I will do is I'll split this up. Now, you've got to imagine the shape this time is still a roof. It's still like a shape of a house, but the house has been turned upside down, all right? So you might want to think of it like this. So let's split it up into 2 separate shapes. We'll call this A. We'll call this B. Okay? So we know that we have the area of A as being 12 by 16. Okay? Now, if we are asked to do this without a calculator, you are going to have to use the long multiplication method, all right, which I'm going to do up here. In a couple of videos back, I did go through the Chinese method, which is what normally we use to multiply. So I'm just going to go through that, do it with you. So that's going to be, let's choose a different color, black. So 16 times 12. All right, you could do the 12 times table and go up to 16, but this is probably easier. So 1 times 1, let's put a time sign there. 1 times 1, I have identified from previous videos, I've asked you to put the 12 on the other side, so I'll do that. So let's put 12 here. Okay, so let's show the answer. So 1 times 1 is just 1, so tens here, units here. 1 times 6 is 6, no tens, units here. 1 times 2 is 2, so that's just 0 there and 2 there. And 2 times 6 is 12. Okay? So when we add along, we go diagonally, so that's going to give us 2. 4 plus 1 plus 2 is 7. There's a 1 here. If we go along this diagonal here, that's just a 1. And there's a 0 here. Okay? So 12 times 16 is just 172. And I'll put this on the inside of this rectangle here. Okay? Right, now the next bit is to add on the area of a triangle. All right? Now, I'm just going to draw the triangle facing the front like this. Okay? Now, the distance from there to there is 12. So the base must also be 12. We know that the height is 8. So to find it, you just do base 12 times 8 and divide that by 2. Okay? So one way you can do it is to half 12 to give you 6. 6 eighths are 48. And half that is 24. Okay? Centimeters squared. All right? Another way you can do 12 times 8, which will give you 96. Okay? And then when you divide that by 2, you should get, sorry, that's 48 centimeters squared. Okay, don't know where I got 24 from. Okay, 12 eighths are 96, and then when you half that, that's 48. Okay, so to get your answer, it's 48 plus 172. 2 plus 8 is 10. 12 there when you add this up. 1 plus 1 is 2. So you should get 220 centimeters squared. Okay? Apologies for that mistake. Like I said before as well, with this one, you can half 12 to get 6 and just do 6 times 8, which is 48. Okay? Right, so let's get on to the next question, okay? So please copy this down and have a go. Good, welcome back. So let's separate this. You should have recognized you could separate it down here. Call this A, call this B. So you got simpler numbers this time, because the rectangle, as you can see with the red lines, is 8 by 6. 8 sixes are 48. Plus the area of the triangle. I'm going to do the triangle standing up. Now, if you look at this red line that says that this side is 6 centimeters. Let's see if I can get that. Then the opposite side would be exactly the same. Okay, so this is going to be 6 centimeters. And the height, as you can see by the green line, is 5 centimeters. So the area is 6 times 5. Divide that by 2. 6 fives are 30. When you half 30, you get 15. Okay? So the total will be 48 plus 15. So 8 plus 5 is 13. And 4 plus 1 is 5. Plus another 1 is 6. So that will give you 63 centimeters squared. Okay? So double underline that. Okay, let's move on to the next one. All right, can we copy this example down now, please? All right, now with this one, you've got to be careful because we can split it up into 3 shapes this time. All right, so you should see, if I call this A, you've got a triangle here. In the middle of A, next to A, you've got B, and B is a rectangle, and C would be another triangle, okay? So in a sense, what you've got is a triangle like this, plus the area of a rectangle, which looks like this, plus the area of another triangle, all right? And these triangles are right angles, all right? So the height is just on the side, all right? So if we look at the triangle first, the first triangle, A, is 3 by 10. Put 10 somewhere up here. So the area of that would be 3 times 10. Divide that by 2. 3 10s are 30. Half that is 15. All right, so that's A sorted. The area of B is going to be, now we've got to be careful this time, because B is something that we need to work out. We need to work out the sides. So the distance from this point here to this point is 8. But the distance, if you go on top, from this point here to this point is going to be 7. Okay, so we know that for B, opposite sides are exactly the same. So that the distance from there to there is 7. The distance from there to there would also be 7. Okay, so it's going to be 7 by 10. Okay. One thing you can recognize is that the height of each part is going to be 10. Okay. So that's going to, so 7 times 10 is 70. Okay. 70 centimeters square. I'll just write that on the inside. All right. Now, the last triangle, if you subtracted 7 from 8, you'll get 1. So the distance, this point to this point, would be 1. Okay? And to find the area, you just do 10 times 1, divide that by 2. So really that's just 10 divided by 2, which is 5. Okay? So your total area is 70. I think you should be able to do this in your head. 70 plus 15 plus 5. Okay? So 70 plus 15 would give you 85. 85 plus another 5 is 90 centimeters squared. Okay? Please copy that down. Right, I would now like you to have a go at this question, please, after you've copied this down. So you might want to pause as you go along, guys. Remember, just to copy down examples. All right, I realise that I'm not telling you to copy this down all the time. So I'm assuming that we're pausing and we're copying down the workings, okay? Right. So pause the video, please. Have a go at this question. Okay. Brilliant. So just like the last example, I'm going to split the shape into 3 parts. That's A, that's B, that's C. So A is going to look like this. Where you've got a triangle. So that was a poor attempt. I could use actually. So you've got a shape like that, which is 2 by 14, plus the area of the bit. Now the height is going to be 14 still. The base, if you look at this part here, the base is 11. Okay, and you've got the last part of the triangle, which is 14, but you need to take 11 away from 13. So that part is going to be 2. Okay, so the height of the triangle, still 14. The base is going to be 2. And we just do this, okay? Now, let's have a go. So, area of the first triangle is just 14 times 2 divided by 2, okay? Now, if I times the number by 2 and then half it, I'm just basically back where I started from. So that is going to be 14 centimeters squared. All right, that's the first one I've started. Now, to do 14 times 11, all right, you could do it this way if you wanted a quicker way. You could do 14 times 10 first, which is just 140. And then 14 times 1, which is just 14. Okay? So when you add these together, that should give you 154. All right? Or simply, you can just use the Chinese method as we've shown you, okay? So let's just put that in the box. So 154, got that one, all right? And if you look at the last question, the last shape, sorry, the area will just be 14 times 2. And then you half that. Okay, so that's going to be 14 centimeters squared as well. Okay, so you just do 154. The total would be 154 centimeters squared plus, well, I know 14 plus 14 is 28, so I can do it like this. Okay, just adding 14 and 14 together. So 4 plus 8 is 12. 2 there, carry the 1. 5 plus 2 plus 1 is 8. And 1 plus itself is 1. So the answer is 182 centimeters squared. Okay? Well done for getting that right, if you've got it right indeed, okay? Now, the next two examples are going to be exam-style questions, okay? Which is quite popular. So, copy this down, please. Oops. Okay, now something like this may appear in a calculator or a non-calculator paper, all right? So I'm going to try and attempt to do it without a calculator, all right? Now, splitting the shape up, you should see that we got a rectangle here, which I'll call A, and a triangle called B, okay? So what we've got here is this, okay? So it says, shape shown is a small plan of a field. Thomas is going to keep some chickens in the field of chicken, which needs 5 centimeters. So each chicken needs 5 meters squared, okay? So one chicken, one chick, 5 meters squared, okay? So we want to know how many chickens can occupy the field, okay? So if each chick takes 5 meters squared, okay, how many chicks take the total area, okay? So we want to find out the total area first, okay, before we can answer this question. And something like this alone, guys, will give you marks on the exam. So if you're looking at this thinking, what the hell do I do? You've all done area before. So if I start off with that, then I'm not losing any marks, all right? So to find the area of A first, now A is an 18 by 14 rectangle, all right? Looks as if we need to do long multiplication to find out what the area is. All right. Now there's other methods as well, people. So if you think I don't like to use the grid method, or my teacher hasn't taught me that way, it's fine. Use another way. I won't be offended. Right. So let's do this. So let me just do the Chinese method here. All right. I just want to make it absolutely clear. Little box across like that. So let's look at the numbers then. So we're doing 18 times 14, 1, 8. Put 1, 4 there, a times here. 1 times 1 is 1. Put a 0 on top. And a 1 there. 1 times 8 is 8. 0 there, 8 here. 1 times 4 is 4, so 0 there and 4 there. And 8 times 4 is 32. Okay? So adding this up, going along, that's just 2. 8 plus 4 plus 3 is 15. 5 there, but remember we need to carry the 1 into this box here. 1 plus 1 would give us 2, and we got nothing here, okay? So the area of that is 252, okay? And now we've got the small matter of the triangle. Good news is at least it's only 2 shapes. So what do we know about it? Okay, well, if we need to know what the height is first. Now, if we look at the height, the distance going vertically is 18 from this point to this point. The distance from this point to this point is 11. Okay, so the height of this would just be 18 subtract 11, and that's going to give us 7 centimeters, okay? Going across, well, the height, the length from this point to this point is 14, and the distance from there to the whole thing is 20, okay? So therefore, this little bit here would be 20 minus 14, which is 6, okay? All right, so that's going to give us 6. Now, we can simply find the area of this. The area is just going to give us 7 times 6, base times height, divide that by 2, and that's going to give us 7 sixes are 42, half that is 21 centimeters squared, okay? Right, so the total area then is just going to give us 21 plus 252. Okay, so 252 plus 21. 1 plus 2 is 3. 5 plus 2 is 7. And that's going to give us just 2. Okay, now this is going to be awkward because we have to divide that by 5. Okay, so if one chick occupies 5 meters squared, we know that 2 chicks will just be double that, which is 10 meters squared. 3 chicks, we've got to times it by 3, and so on. Okay, so we need to work out how many 5s there are in 273. Okay, I would just simply use the bus stop method. All right, which is 2, 7, 3. 5s cannot go into 2, so I'll put a 0 there and a 2 there. 5's go into 27 5 times. You've got a remainder of 2. 5 goes into 23 4 times. And then you've got a remainder. Put a remainder on a 0. So I'll just put a 0 there of 3. 5's go into 30 6 times. Okay, so it's 54.6. Okay, obviously you can't have 0.6 of a chicken. Okay, and if I were to put in one more chicken, it's going to be too full. Okay, so the most amount of chickens I could have is 54. Okay, so greatest number of chickens is 54. Okay, something like that, just to make it clear to the examiner. All right. Now, if you can get all the way, guys, really good. If you can't get all the way, there are ways you can just pick up marks on this. Okay, so don't just give up at the first hurdle. Okay. Right, let's give you a few seconds to copy this down, then we're going to move on. All right, so let's just try and do this question. This question is a little bit simpler. All right, so just pause it, have a go, begin with finding the area. Okay, here's your clue. Pause, have a go. Okay, welcome back and well done for having a go. Indeed, that's what you did. So first thing I'm going to do, and as you realise, what I did earlier was I split the shape up into two shapes, a rectangle and a triangle. All right. We should really read the question. Okay, it says the diagram shows the plan of a floor. Thomas decides to paint the floor. Each paint covers 3 centimeters squared. Okay, so 1 can is equal to 3 centimeters, okay, squared. So I want to work out how many centimeters squared I have altogether, and then the final answer will be divided by 3, basically. All right, so let's look at A first. So we should have, if you look at the rectangle, a 6 by 8 rectangle, okay? Oh, sorry. So that's going to be 6 by 8, which is 42 centimeters squared, okay? And remember, it's 6 by 8, not 6 by 10, okay? Plus the area of a triangle. Now the height is going to be 6 because the distance from this point to this point is 6. Therefore, the distance from this point to this point is also going to be 6. We need to know what the base is. Now, you've got to be careful because the distance between, in the whole thing, sorry, distance from here to here is 10 centimeters. The distance from this point to this point is 8 centimeters. So we need to subtract 8 from 10. 10 take away 8. Let's do that down here again. This is just getting really... 10 take away 8 is 2. So the base is 2. Now that's going to be quite easy to find because 6 times 2 divided by 2. So if I take a number, I times it by 2 and then divide it by 2, I'm going to end up where I started, which is 6. Okay. So to find my total area, this is easy. I just do 42 plus 6, which is going to give us 48 centimeters squared. Okay. So if 1 can covers 3 centimeters squared, To find out how many cans we need to cover 48 centimeters squared, we just do 48 divided by 3, okay? You can use the bus stop method for this, all right, or you can do it in your head. 4s into 3 goes once, remainder 1, and 3s into 18 goes 6 times, okay? So 16 cans are needed. Okay? And it's always good to finish that off with a comment, okay? That's what's going to get you a grade 5, okay? Or grade 4 if that's what you're aiming for. Right, so the next bit of it now will be some questions for you to practice. So pause the video, have a go at these ones, please. Okay, brilliant. So here are your answers for these questions. For part E, just be aware what we've done for part E is you've done 32 times 20 and then you've just taken off that little area of the triangle there. That's one way you can do it. Another way is to separate it into 4 or 5 different shapes. So you could have done, you could have done something like this. Right, that would have been a harder way of doing it, but it would have worked. Let's have a go at these. So just before, guys, you might want to pause the video, have a go at these worded questions. Okay, brilliant. So here are the answers to your worded questions. All right, brilliant, guys. Well, I hope that's made sense to you. All right, please make sure now that we go on to Frog, have a go at the quiz and make sure, guys, that we complete this by 3:30 today. Okay, that way we can go online and see who's what you find trouble.